community, our city, our country, and the whole world, a better place for everybody. College Park is gateway to the world. And we just thank you. We praise you. In your majestic Son, Jesus Christ's name, we pray. Amen. Amen.
Moderator's privilege. My name is Bill Crane, and I'll just share with you my first visit to College Park that I knew where I was going. I got lost in the pre-GPS days looking for the Buggy Works in East Point and kept getting directions and finally found myself down here in College Park and was really charmed. I was 19 years old by the city, and my family used to own newspapers that were on the south side of Atlanta, so I was down here a pretty good bit. You have a lot of wonderful things in this community, and I think one of the things you have that's most wonderful is the people and the leadership and the commitment and the giving back. And I work with a lot of other cities and counties, and I haven't seen in a lot of those places the dedication I see in your city council member, Ward 1 Commissioner, or one Ward City Council member, Jamel McKenzie. Jamel.
Well, thank you, Bill. I think I'm losing part of this, the clicker. Oh, you're going to click it? Okay. Okay. So basically, Karen is going to do our welcome. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Very good. Well, welcome to Ward 1. We're thrilled to have you here, and we look forward to seeing what you'll bring to the group, whether you're here to learn, share, or simply connect. You're in the right place. In our community, we believe in the power of collaboration, kindness, and respect. This is a safe space for open discussion. We want to share ideas, and we want to help each other and the city of College Park to grow. We want to make sure that you don't hesitate to introduce yourself to someone sitting next to you if you don't know that person. Ask questions, and most importantly, get involved. Once again, welcome. We're excited to have you here, and we're excited to grow together. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to kind of go over the agenda for today, we've started with our invocation. I want to thank our wonderful city manager, and who is also a man of prayer, and we need that. I'm getting kind of a weird sound, James. Is there anything we can do with this? There's a feedback here. Yeah, I don't know if it's this mic or we need to change. Karen Jeremy, who is our DMO and Destination Marketing Organization for the City of College Park. She's our board member for that, and we just appreciate you coming out, doing the welcome. We're going to have our guest speakers, and I will introduce them shortly. I'm just going to go through the rest of the agenda. You can go on. Then after we finish with the speakers, we'll have several Ward 1 updates. This is like 3 months now since we've had our last community meeting of this sort. We have had other meetings, but we have not had one like this. So we have a lot to update you with. Then we're going to have question and answer and give you the opportunity to ask me any questions that you may have, and announcements and closing remarks. Again, it has been an honor and a privilege to serve as your Ward 1 council member these past 10 months. It has not been easy, but it has been worth it. The elephant in the room would be, yeah. It's been a lot going on, but we've gotten so much done. And so hopefully when you leave here today, you'll be able to say, in fact, Gail was like, you're all over the place. But you know, that's what you gotta be to get things done. We have a fantastic city, and it's gonna involve rolling up our sleeves and doing the work, the positive work. And that's why, with that note, it brings me pleasure to introduce our first speaker for this morning. And I have not known her long, but I feel like I know her well. She has a beautiful spirit, and she's very qualified for the work that she does. For a couple of months, we were really in need. We could not get RFP RFPs or RFQs, anything done in our city for projects that were over $10,000. And this wonderful young lady has come to our city, and she's handling purchasing for us and procurement. So I'm going to just turn it over to her. Her name is Lindell Miller. And Lindell, thank you again for coming out today.
Good morning. So I think we should give ourselves a hand for being here on a Saturday morning. So that's a nice picture of me. Okay. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, Councilwoman McKenzie, City Manager, Dr. Emanuel, thank you. And I'm happy to be here. So the city is growing, and we're changing, and we're meeting the challenges. And one of those things is developing a purchasing department. Developing a department that is here to serve residents, serve the internal departments, and serve the city council. Am I pressing this one? Okay. So that's me. Hi. So just a little bit about myself. And I'm very humble, so bear with me on this part. When it comes to work, I'm there, but this part, I like other people to do this. But I have an MBA and a bachelor's in business economics. I am a certified public procurement officer with the Universal Public Procurement Council and the National Institute of Government Procurement, that's a lot, NIGP. I have been doing this for 20 plus years. I have worked with state, county, municipal government. I've handled capital improvement projects, CIP projects, federally funded projects, general obligation bonds, ranging anywhere from $1 million up to my largest project probably was about $400 million. I developed in Florida the first business resident economic growth plan, in which I created a program where contractors that would come into the city and spend over $1 million would literally have to employ residents of that city. That was a challenge, but we got it done. And then after we implemented it, we made sure it got done. So they didn't just say they were going to do it. We literally had to go out to the projects with boots and hats on and ask for a driver's license to make sure they worked in the city. So when we gave vendors $5 million, they employed the residents. And so I did that in Miami. Secondly, I've worked for Broward County government for about 10 years. I was recruited by the Inspector General of Florida. And there where I became an investigator for OIG, and I also did training for all of the cities within the state of Florida. So that's a little bit about me, not too much. So why are we here? And what is procurement? Basically, a role of a purchasing director is to ensure that there's integrity and transparency in the process. It's not enough to award a contract. You want to make sure that they got it fair and they got it square. That's the role of a purchasing director. In addition to that, my job is to supervise timely procurement. In other words, it shouldn't take a year to get something done. All right. But you want to get it done within the law. And that's where the experience and the knowledge comes through. Additionally, it's to negotiate contracts. And I gotta tell you, you make difficult decisions because sometimes people aren't happy with you because you get to say no. No, no, no. I say it really well. Right, but it's not me, right? I follow the rules. It's never about me. It's about you. It's about the residents. It's about taxpayer dollars. And that's where you ensure that the procurement process, like I said, is open. In other words, if you wanted to know how we got to a contract, you should be able to see that. It has to be fair, meaning that everyone should have a chance to service us, right? As long as they provide us with competitive pricing, right? Because we want to make sure that we're getting the bang for our buck, okay? So I like this, right? I kind of created this because this is what I do, is service. Yeah, I get paid, yeah, you know. But the job is about service. It's not about looking good, getting credit. It's about ensuring that when you go out to the park, that sidewalk is done properly, ensuring that the light works, ensuring that, you know, when you go to a park to walk your dog, the dog park is right. I love dogs. So it's a job, purchasing is a job of not just contracts. It's a job of service. You're servicing residents, you're servicing business owners, and you're servicing internal departments to get the job done. So it's a job of service. So I like to just throw this out there, what is purchasing? Because everyone's like, you know, what is purchasing? Why do you need a purchasing department? Well, a purchasing department is a centralized office. When it says centralized, it's just a big word, but centralized is just an office within the city where your procurement and your purchasing run through. If you need to get the roads done, you have to find a contractor that does asphalt. They put out the bid, we get the scope from Public Works. Well, I need this. Okay, we put out a bid. So it filters through purchasing, centralized. That's all that means. And then it's good to know that, and I like to always say this, it's not about me, right? The city council approves the ordinance, and the city manager approves purchases. So it's not purchasing has the power. It's purchasing is facilitating what the city manager has said and what the city council has said. That's what centralized is. That's what purchasing is. So what is the goals? It's always to be efficient and effective. If you're working in a department and you're doing this, and it's taking time, and you're bidding it over and over again, and it's taking 6 months, it's not effective because time is money. And this economy is very volatile right now. So if you have a parking lot that needs to be done, and you don't get this done in January, I can almost guarantee you in December, you're gonna pay twice as much. That's where the market is now. Concrete, who would have thought? A driveway would cost $15,000. And when you watch the market, I don't know if you do the stock markets, when you watch the market, it's here, then it's here, then it's here, and then it's here. So with procurement, time is money. If you got a scope and you have the budget, the process has to be efficient. You have to be able to purchase items. You have to be able to put a bid out, make a decision. You have to be able to award it, make a decision. You have to be able to take it to council, make a decision. You have to be able to get the contract out and get the job done efficiently, make a decision. And the only way you do that is if your purchasing department process is efficient and is effective. Transparency. You hear it over and over and over again. What are you doing with my money? I pay taxes, and I feel the same way. I live in Henry County. What are you doing with my money? You want your taxes every December. I want to know what you're doing with it. That's transparency. So in the bid process, in the procurement process, you ought to be able to say, can I see that file on this contract? You ought to be able to see where that was put out, the bid was solicited. You ought to see where the decision came from to award a vendor. You ought to be able to see where the decision came from council to approve it. That's transparency. And that's what a purchasing department does. So to achieve the highest standard of professional procurement, and basically to have a unified system that ensures integrity. And notice how I put this in bold, College Park residents, right? You have to be able to know that everything that is purchased was done right. And so I won't read the objectives, I kind of covered that already, but I like to say that to ensure that there's equal opportunity and qualified vendors are selected that compete, and additionally, to ensure that local and small businesses have the maximum opportunity to participate in city contract awards. So that's going to lead into the next slide. Currently, the city does have a local preference policy. Is it perfect? Are we going to work on it? Yes. Yes. But at least we have it. We have it. And basically this says that if there's bidders and a non-local vendor, someone outside of College Park that does not have a business license for College Park, is the lowest bid, and the second bidder is a College Park vendor, then we have the opportunity to give it to a College Park business. That's local preference. Do you want to put some meat in this? Yeah. But at least we have it. And that's a win. Any questions on that? No? Yes.
If a person is a resident but doesn't have a business in College Park.
So, are you a lawyer? No, it's written for businesses right now. And the reason I mentioned that residential plan that I did for City of Miami, because that one pertained to residents. But we're not there yet, but we'll get there. And it's possible, but we'll get there. Right now, did you need me? So he has a badge. So he gets to take over. But yeah, so the local preference pertains to businesses at this point. But I wanted to just put out front that we have it. Right, and right now, if I go back to my office and I put out a bid, and there's a non-local bidder, and then there's a local bidder, we can make that decision because we have it. Right? Is there room for improvement? There's always room for improvement. I should know because I'm renovating my house. Right? There's always room for improvement, but we have it. And so, that being said, I'd just like to say that residents are key to what I do. And because of that, I like to attend workshops and I like to connect, because you ought to feel that your money's being spent equitably, fairly, and there's transparency. You ought to be able to trust the person in that office, that decisions are being made that's best for the city, the residents and business owners. And so I consider you guys VIPs, right? Any questions for me? Yes.
Thank you. Certainly because I am a people person. Because I am a people person.
Yes, sir.
I have a question that I really would like as much information about this as possible. How did you find your way to College Park to create a?
Well, first of all, the city council makes decisions. I don't create anything. Secondly, I have been in the industry a long time, and the job was posted. And I found it to be an opportunity, not a challenge, an opportunity. I have made my career off of being dedicated and loyal to what I do. And I've always looked at procurement as service. I've always loved the ability to go into something and create something else to make it better. And you ask anyone that knows me, they'll tell you one thing: Lindell gets it done. And she gets it done through transparency, following the rules, getting it done quickly, just taking care of business. Right? Yes, sir. Good morning.
My name is Demetrius Taylor. I may be a little off kilter with this question, but it's fascinating me. This is the first time in my 16 years, nearly 17 years of being a resident, that I've actually had a definition of what the purchasing department is for. So I want to thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
this particular education.
Yes, sir.
And I'm feeling very confident in you. My question is, you coming in, are we, or can we expect for you to be sitting in some of our BIDA meetings and things like that? Because I'm a former vice chair with BIDA, and when we come down to making decisions for contracts and this, that, and the other, I'm not sure if we're supposed to work in tandem, but this is why this is a question that it may seem like I'm all over the place, because I've never heard it done before. And the way how you just laid this out, how can we effectively procure a lot of the contracts and go through all of that through BIDA and the economic development plan, considering the climate that we have here in College Park right now, with everybody wanting transparency?
Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna get rid of this part right here. So thank you for the compliment, and nice to meet you. So there are certain decisions that I don't make. They're my bosses right there. So they would have to make that decision. But I can tell you that wherever they ask me to go, I'll be there. And I'll be there with my expertise to assist. But if it comes to purchasing, I'm your girl. I will lay it out. I won't make final decisions, right? My bosses do that. But if I am invited, I can attend, and I can help the contract and procurement process. Because I do think that when you all understand what's going on in there, in that office, I think then we get the support we need. Because I'm no good if you're not comfortable with me, right? So I like you. Yeah. So yeah, if I'm invited, for sure, I'll speak with Dr. Emmanuel. That's my immediate boss, and he would make that decision. But I would gladly like to attend and help the city grow, because I'm telling you, this is a gold mine. You got the airport, you got GICC. We were there. This, and then you have, I don't know if you know anything about Florida, but you have this strip here. And if you know anything about Florida, there's a little city called Las Olas. And they had a little strip. And they never widened the streets, but they put these stores up and down the street. And I like to tell you that not everyone can live there now. If you know what I mean. Yeah. Yes. Can I?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Can I,
As far
can I
as
come over there? Can I come over there?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
As far as the local ordinance preference goes, I've seen those before, and they have been challenged. The Attorney General has his opinions about them. What what avenues are you expecting, and how do you plan on defending challenges that may come in when we have bids going to local vendors and they're challenged on a discriminatory basis by outside companies?
Okay, so normally what is challenged is minority-based programs, like your MBEs and things of that nature. And the reason they're challenged is because most of the time cities haven't performed a disparity study. A disparity study. And that study would demonstrate the demographics of a city, what makes up the city, what makes the disparity, right? And so most cities weren't able to get those studies done. They kind of just jumped into the programs. And then people would come in and challenge it because they would challenge what is the basis of your MBE. And so because you don't have a disparity study that breaks it down, that you have this percentage of Black women, this percentage of Black-owned Latinos, because you don't have that study, then they can challenge your whole idea of setting aside a contract. But the local preference is a little different, because the local preference basically just says if you live in the city. And the way they prove that you live in the city is by having the actual structure, and then by having your business license and certified with the city. So it's a little different. Typically, anything can be challenged, right? This is America. Anything can be challenged. But typically, the challenges come in with your MBEs, your small businesses, because of the lack of disparity studies.
That is correct. I do agree. I was part of a lawsuit where they were challenging protecting the integrity of the bids.
Exactly.
Because you have local people here, and they have ends with certain people in city government, there is a challenge that has been raised, not specifically here, but in other municipalities where they have inside information. So protecting the integrity of the bid is key.
Bingo. What's your name?
James Walker.
And so that's why I did that whole long speech about my credentials, OIG, CPPO, integrity, transparency, because you don't last in this business if you don't have integrity. Okay. Yes,
Hi,
ma'am.
I'm Holly Rodriguez.
Nice to meet
My
you.
question is, where do we go to see the bids that are available?
So if you go to the city's website, which we are remodeling, right, Dr. Emmanuel? If you go to the city's website, which we are working on, we anticipate purchasing software to become a little bit more transparent. But for right now, we still have a system in place where the bids are posted. So you can see where the bids are posted. We post our bids in 3 places. The city's website, GPR, Georgia Registry, and then it's actually in the papers. Like, we actually do the papers. Yeah, so I gotta buy that paper. I haven't bought a paper in a long time. So we do that. So when the bids are open, it actually states where you can see the opening. The openings are actually live stream. So you can just click on the Zoom link and watch. You can watch me open it and read.
No, the actual opportunities for business.
So yeah, that's why I did both places, both things. So you can see the bids on the website and GPR, and I do recommend that you register with the Georgia Procurement Registry, because most of our bids are posted there as well, along with other opportunities. But, yeah. So it's posted there, and then to watch it, you can actually click the bid openings via Zoom or Teams.
Through the GPR.
No, through our website. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right.
so much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Okay.
Right hand click to advance.
Okay.
This is Dr. Lethea Williams, who I met while I was running the Ignite Resource Center. She was very active. She actually confronted me with a couple of things. She has always had a passion for youth, and she runs Emergent, which she'll probably tell you a little bit about. And so we are now in the process of moving forward with this STEM program. And Dr. Williams also serves as our BIDA board member. It's good to have people that are involved in your community, working for your community. Dr. Williams.
Good morning, everyone. As stated, I'm Dr. Lethea Williams. I own and operate Emergent Life Skills, an education consultant, which is a life and soft skills coaching agency for teens, young adults, and those aging out of foster care, as well as neurodivergent young adults. Now, the Empowerment Zone, we started 1st of October, and we're over here across the street. We meet Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And the whole point is to give our young people here in College Park an opportunity to make a plan, to get some mentoring, as well as to showcase who they are. We have our mentors who meet with them Mondays and Tuesdays, and our mentors are out of Dr. Chisulu's organization. It's all about social empowerment. We want our young people to know that we hear them and that we're not talking at them, but we're talking with them and we're listening to what they have to say. We also do some life coaching, which is with me, and it's so that our kids have an opportunity to plan ahead. And it's still early in their lives, and so we want them to be self-aware and self-assured, knowing that the path they're on right now won't be where they'll end up when, say, they're our ages. So it's all about giving them that confidence. We also have a professional etiquette coach, and she gets them ready for jobs. So she dresses them, she gives them etiquette advice on how to behave during the interview process. The STEM theme portion of the program, it has not kicked off because we got a donation of computers and the relationship with the donor did not work out. So we returned those computers to the donor. So right now we're in the process of waiting on technology, as well as we're also trying to have a collaboration with the Black Engineers Association so that they can control the STEM portion of the program, because that's not my arena. So I don't want to step into something that I don't understand. So we're working on having a collaboration to get people who are versed in that area to come on in and help our young people. And that's it, that's the update. We started October 1st. We're across the street, and we meet Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays from 4 to 6 for 12 to 17-year-old students here in College Park. So that's it. Any questions? Okay, thank you. NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers.
Well, you didn't come here for me, so without further ado, your City Council member, Ward 1, Jamel McKenzie with a ward update.
Thank you, Bill. I have a lot of information to share, so I'm going to move fast. This is, I don't know why every time I get the mic, this thing falls off, okay. But I'm going to move swiftly, and this is going to be available on the city the city TV 23 on YouTube. So if you kind of want to look back at it, but we just want to kind of move just to give you some idea of what we have going on. This has been, as I said, a phenomenal year. I've been able to get a lot of work accomplished, and there's still more work to do. I'm only going to share with you some updates that have happened from the last town hall meeting that we had in August. So these are just some updates from August to now, and I'm not even sharing everything because then we would be here too long, and I'm not trying to be funny with that. Okay. The David Scott pedestrian bridge. Many of you might be aware that we began the erecting the bridge, and that was actually, the construction began on September 20th, And this past week, we started having the braces put on, so this way now we can actually start installing the walkway. So there will be information coming out to you shortly about the closures of the street again. And before I go any further, I do want to acknowledge the presence of some people that are here today. Of course, our city manager, Dr. Emmanuel Adediran. Thank you for coming. Yeah. We have the leadership of the College Park Citizens Association, the newly elected president, and your treasurer, okay, Michael Lindsay, and he's going to just make some announcements to us, and Demetrius Taylor. Demetrius is also everything College Park, for those of you that you like to keep posted on what's going on and hear his viewpoint. So, and we have our newly hired Human Resources Director, Ms. Rose Stewart. So I wanted to just... So those are our city staff, and again, I have my board members, and we want to thank you for being here, and of course, Ms. Lindell and Mr. Bill Crane, Dr. Williams, and everyone. And then you, give yourselves a hand, because you're here. All right, so the pedestrian bridge, we'll be getting some more information about that. Ms. Lindell, I mean, she wasn't even with us, I think, more than 2 weeks. And she helped us to put together this amazing event. Joe Carn, Councilman Carn, and myself collaborated. He did more of the work than I did. I was traveling. And we had a turnout. I think we had close to, if not to more than 100 persons come out for this event. They got registered as vendors and learned how they could do business with the city of College Park. And as Ms. Lindell has said, we do show priority to local businesses, providing they meet the qualifications. And so we want to encourage those that live in the city that have businesses to do business. So that was on the 9th of October. Flint River Preserve update. We renewed on, actually it happened on August 1st, we renewed our brownfield certification. That's important because we purchased the property, we also purchased the property from MARTA. We closed on the property that same day. And that was important because this property has a lot of contamination in it. So you purchase a property, but it still needs to have work done. And so the Brownfields grant money is going to allow us to get the cleanup done and even begin to do some of the work that needs to be done in terms of making this amazing preserve that is going to be tacked onto the Beltline. This is one of the points where we are going to be attaching the city of College Park to the Atlanta Beltline, and that's huge. And I want to thank Dr. Adediran. We have like a weekly meeting with the EPA. This is a serious project. It takes a lot of time, but we're going to get it done. We also got some reports that there was litter, trash, and vagrants living in the property that we had, and we knew that we had it locked off. So we went down there on November, we went down there in October, and we saw that we actually had, some of y'all might have seen the video, we actually had a few folks living on the property. I mean, they had set up their homes. And I am concerned, and we have to address the issue of homelessness, but we also could not have people living on city-owned property. The liability is too great. So on yesterday, I believe that those persons were moved from there. So we gave them about 2 weeks. It was supposed to be 72 days. It turned into 2 weeks. 72 hours. It turned into over 2 weeks. So that has been removed. We've locked up the area, the property, and we're going to be moving forward with that project as soon as we start seeing some of that funding. In my budget for the 2024-25 year, I requested $994,000 to be spent on community enhancements. This is something that I don't think we've ever had our council do. Every council member put in for different enhancements. The funding for these enhancements largely came from our hotel motel tax dollars. In fact, for mine, only about $112,000 actually came from the general fund, which is your property tax. So the rest of that 800 and something, almost $70,000 came from our motel tax business. I shared this at the last meeting, but I want to share it with you really quickly so that you can see as I go over the updates how that money is now being spent, okay? So I put in $200,000 for the Price Barbershop project, which I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes. And that's a very important project for our community because that is really the only piece of property, aside from the cemetery, which Demetrius shared about, that really shows us the history or represents the history of African Americans, the original African Americans who have lived in College Park since before slavery. And so we put $200,000 into that. We've already started working with our Main Street Merchants Association to begin the upgrades to the depot. We really want to make that into a tourism center, a welcome center. So when people come to College Park, those of you that are on Main Street on the weekends, you know we're just booming with people coming through. And we want to be able to have them see more and learn more about our city while they're there. I won't go through everything because I'm going to talk to you about some of these things, but I wanted you to see this $994,000 of the general fund. Only $112,000 actually comes from your property taxes. $340,000 came from the car rental, which is money that would just, who knows what would be done with it. We wanted to make sure it was used to help our staff and our departments get things done that they would not have been able to get done. And $542,000 came from the hotel motel funding. So again, not monies that you spent maybe unless you went to a restaurant or rather a hotel or you rented a car, okay? So Barrett Park, some of that money used to go into Barrett Park, and wanted to just give you just the update on Barrett Park that we have worked on the restrooms. There have been some concerns with the restrooms, so we're still working through that. You know, we got these high-tech restrooms, and just working on the maintenance. But city manager, is it correct that we will be closing the restrooms for the winter? So within the next couple of weeks, the restrooms will close, but we will go back to having the porta potties, okay? So there will still be a facility, but through the winter months. And then we also need to work on a plan for how we want to really make sure that those restrooms are properly maintained. So Barrett Park, we also had and I think my slide is out of order. We resurfaced the tennis courts, and we now have pickleball that's been resurfaced. And we are also going to be putting a shade up before the summer so that when it gets hot again, when your kids are playing in the playground, they'll have shade, okay? Brady Trail improvements. We've had 3 phases that have been completed with the Brady Trail. The first of the 3 phases was we met with members of the community. I'm happy to see Gail and Tony and Karen, Dr. Melissa Williams was one of who kind of led this effort. And there were people that lived on Herschel Road that were really concerned about the condition of the Brady Trail, amongst other things. So we met, we got input from them. Dr. Williams actually did a presentation, not this Williams, but the other Williams, Melissa Williams, did a presentation at a workshop meeting, and we started coming up with a plan, the residents, about what we envision for the Brady Trail. So that was the first thing, citizen involvement. The second was the plan, coming up with the plan. And then Dr. Adederin and myself and several of our police staff, our public works staffs, we came out to the Brady Trail a couple of times, and we began to look at how that plan could be implemented. So right now, that's Barrett Park. So right now, basically, we are getting ready to put lighting on the trail, but first we got to clean up the trail. We got to get rid of the kudzu, and like I said, my slide's a little bit out of order here. So that goes back to Barrett Park. So you can see a picture of what the tennis courts look like and the pickleball before, and isn't that beautiful? I love that green and blue. Don't you love that green and blue? One Ward 1. Okay, so now we go back to Brady Trail. So when we walked the Brady Trail, we actually saw, before outside the Brady Trail, this is the handrail of the bridge that goes across, that's over there by Herschel Road. And so there were breaks in the rails. And so our amazing public works team, it seemed like within 24 hours, came out and they repaired all of those issues with the Brady Trail Bridge. So we're just grateful for that. Okay, so here we go. Brady Trail pending upgrades. The plan is for it to be cleaned up this month, and the removal of the kudzu as much as they possibly can. And then in the month of December, once that's done, we can have the lighting. We're going to have lighting poles. Mr. U. Richardson is going to be working with that. We already have the poles, okay? There's no cost involved. And the lighting will be put there. And then by the end of 2025, we'll start talking about a site plan design and try to bring somebody on. Hopefully it will be something that we don't need Ms. Lindell. We can do it for a couple of thousand, but it may be more. We'll put out an RFP or RFQ, whatever it is, for RFP would be, for someone to do a design of how we could, because we'd even like to have some parking available at the trail as well. And then in 2025, 26, once all that is done and the park is up and running, the trail, we will put Wi-Fi on the trail as well. So there'll be some playground space, possibly some picnic space along the trail. Great things coming. Okay, another project that we did with the help of this community as well was the City Hall lawn naming. Our City Hall didn't have a name, a lawn. The City Hall did, but the lawn. And as you go through our lawn, we've named it College Park Memorial Commons at a city council meeting. But when you visit our City Hall lawn, and I hope that after those of you that are watching this, when you go to the lawn, you'll never see it the same again. Okay? So when you go to the lawn, you'll notice that we have a few monuments. We have a 4-branch military monument that I guess it was erected in 1969, that has been on the lawn, and it honors the Army, the Navy, Air Force, and Marines, okay? And then we have the cornerstone for Cox College. That's how College Park got started. With Cox College. I mean, the name, we got our name from that. And the actual cornerstone, and not just the cornerstone, there's a lot of other information that's on that. And I just want to invite you to visit that. So the history of our city is on that lawn. A very important part of the history, I should say. So I think I'm missing some other. Okay, so I'll just stop with that. Oh, here we go. Monuments. We also have a World War II monument that's been on that lawn since 1948. It looks like a fountain, that water fountain that doesn't work. It actually can work, we just don't use it. So this right here, this is a World War II monument. And then we have the Freedom Tree. There's a tree that I'll sit over there and eat lunch and have conversations and didn't even realize that there was a monument in the ground. And it was a POW, for a prisoner or person that never returned from the war. And that was there since 1972. And there's some others. I invite you to visit the City Hall lawn, look for our monuments. So we wanted to create something, a name that would bring an identification to the lawn. And I want to thank those of you that responded on that and agreed to name it the City of College Park Memorial Commons. Main Street. We did a cleanup on Main Street. We're not finished. It's going to be ongoing, but we see some before and after pictures. This may still look dirty, but it's a lot cleaner than it was. So these are the guys, our sanitation, public works persons, that came out, and they did the cleanup. And here's a better picture here. This is after, but you can even see the contrast of how dirty it was and what they were able to do. So those of you, in fact, my Keep College Park beautiful board member just came in, Miss Brandy Hurd. She's our newly appointed board member. And we want to keep College Park beautiful. And one of the ways we keep it beautiful is keeping the sidewalks, the concrete clean, the streets clean. Because when people see something clean, you keep it clean. But when you see it dirty, it doesn't matter that you spilt that drink or you just put that cigarette butt and whatever down on the ground, and there's a trash can right 500 feet ahead of you. Okay, and this is something that I'm very excited about, and we will be moving the program for our STEM and STEAM to the Conley Recreation Center. So we are putting computer labs at both Conley Recreation and Brady Recreation. So each of those will have a computer lab. The computer labs will be open during the daytime for our seniors, especially our senior citizens. They can come in there and use the computers. Ms. Gwen, you were at the meeting when I talked about it at the Housing Authority on Tuesday night. But we will continue to, so each of the recreation centers will have a computer center where you can pay your bills, you can apply for jobs, you can just surf the web and do, maybe learn how to do Microsoft, whatever, and we'll have somebody to man it. So the hours that the computer center is open, we will have persons there to actually assist you. So look for that. Both centers will be opening. They're scheduled to be open in December of 2024. We had the suicide panel discussion. In fact, the last time we were here, Meech, this is what we were doing, suicide. And we had a wonderful panel. We had Dr. Rashid Edwards, Dr. K, the mind doctor, Shantavia Farmer, who has her own organization, and we were able to talk about suicide. It's a very serious issue. It is the second leading cause of death in young people aged 24 years old in Georgia. It's the second largest cause of death by suicide. We've got a problem, and we need to be addressing it. Price Barbershop. Wanted just to leave you all just so you could see some of the things that are going on with our Price Barbershop project. Ms. Gwen is going. So we're excited about that. We have the funding, and we've actually, that's another, when Dr. Adediran and I meet about the Flint, we're also meeting about Price Barbershop. Getting funding. We've got government funding coming for that project. We're taking our hotel, motel, and car rental taxes and putting it into that. And we're going to have a museum. It's going to be a museum. I've already talked with the city attorney. We're designating on the deed that property will, for perpetuity, be used as a museum. So that means you can't take it down and you can't use it for anything else. That history will be preserved, and I'm excited about that. All right? Yeah. Yeah. Good things. Okay, so this was the community meet and greet that we had back in October 5th. And we had a lot of people out. And then after that, a few days later, we took a tour. It was a group of us. Some of the people that went on the tour actually used to get their hair cut there. There were persons that had utilized the duplex, which is next to it. We're not only preserving the barbershop, we're preserving the house next to it as well. And so we went on the tour. Everybody, it was an emotional meet. You weren't there that day, but that was an emotional day. Going back in that and then seeing how it had just been trampled on. We had vagrants that had been living in the house and set fire to the, that's why it's boarded up, everybody. It's not boarded up because of any reason, but we just needed to make sure that no one had easy access because it had really been it was very, in fact, there's some pictures. You might be able to look and see some pictures. Okay, I'm gonna keep moving. Breast Cancer Awareness Walk, we had that last weekend. October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Miss Pamela Greer, who is actually one of my she's my road cat, not road dog, okay? And Pam has been having a cancer walk for 7 years. She's a cancer survivor, 19-year breast cancer survivor. And she was doing it on her own, and when I was campaigning, I was walking with her, and this year I was happy to be able to sponsor that for you, not from city money, personal funds, okay? And but Ward 1 was represented because we had Ignite there, we had some of our Ward 1 community champions were there, but we wanted to really make sure that we made awareness of this, but we also celebrated other people, women that have survived breast cancer. We had persons there who had family members who had succumbed to breast cancer. It was, Meech, I left you there. So, and looked at even the fact that men, I mean, we stayed there till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had to say, bye, see ya. But beautiful, and Pam was given a proclamation for her work in continuing to keep us aware of what women and men, it's a silent thing for men, but women, it's a 2.3 million women a year are deal with breast cancer. Okay, I'm almost finished. So just this is a quick update, and I want to thank Dee Dee for working with Public Works and helping me. Dee Dee's back there somewhere. So these are some of the projects that we completed and that we're working on for the next few months. John Calvin Avenue, Hemphill, was made into a one-way street. That was completed, and that was determined, I guess, due to the school promise coming. And I know we still had some complications with it, but we do have some narrow streets in the city that are two-way, and it's really a public safety issue. So, and I know that everybody wasn't happy with making those streets one-way, but we have students and we have people that are dealing with that every day, and we just wanted to make sure that they were safe. Handicap spaces on Rugby and Columbia. So now we have more handicap as you're going down Main Street, because that was a concern. I think Anne Marie and Maureen reached out to me and said, we need to have this done. They've been trying to get it done for years, couldn't get it done. I made a phone call to this man over here, and within 24 hours, we were putting up signs. Thank you, Dr. Adediran. All right, Reed Street, we installed 5 no parking signs for illegal parking on private property. We had people parking illegally. They're going to the restaurants on Main Street and parking, and we're still working on some other issues. And again, I'm bringing this up because if you have an issue that you haven't brought to your council member that you need help, get it to me, and we'll get it addressed. That's just showing the one-way streets. Okay. Here are the pending projects. These are actually in progress right now. Walker Avenue is on schedule to remove 2 large pine trees to improve sanitation pickup. Also, we have a large pine tree in Miss Johnny Marie Williams' yard that is on Lyle Avenue that needs to be removed, and it's about to be. Miss Johnny, I hope you're watching. But we just got to get the folks out. We're doing street resurfacing on John Calvin. MARTA bus stop on Washington Road. There's a bus stop. There's a couple of bus stops we have on Washington Road where if you're waiting for the bus, you got to stand in the dirt. And, you know, that just doesn't make any sense. So we're getting a concrete pad, Miss Gwen, and hopefully we'll get one of those little coverings as well. But we definitely don't want anybody waiting for the bus, standing in the dirt, especially on a rainy day. Then you got to drag, your feet have got mud on it, you're on your way to work. Don't get me started, okay? We're going to do street resurfacing on Parkview Drive from Rugby Avenue to Parkview. That's still scheduled for this year. Oh, actually, it's scheduled for 2025. April 2025, okay. Handicap crosswalks on Main Street downtown. We want to get those repainted, and also looking at all of our crosswalks on that Main Street area, making sure that is clear. These are some projects that people have requested. Speed bumps on Pierce Street, Park Terrace, Rugby Lane. Those are in, but we have to have the police department is doing a survey on that, and we're working on. So just want you to know, Mike, you brought that up to us. 4-way stop sign, Brandy, you brought that up to me. A couple of people from Atlanta Street, Virginia Avenue. That is actually on the agenda for Monday night's meeting. So as long as our council votes yes, it's a go. Okay, sidewalk installation again from Washington Road now to Herschel. We already have sidewalks going up from Oxford Walk to Washington on Fairway, but now we want to do Herschel to Rugby Avenue. That is going to probably be in our 2025-26 budget. It's not in this year's budget, but I will make sure we get it in the next budget. Sidewalk repairs, multiple locations, tree removal, Main Street's parking study. All of these are things that you have requested, that we have it in the queue. Some things, there's not the funding in there for this year, but they are a priority for the next budget cycle. sidewalk on Fairway, just so you can see that one is in progress. Two more, just a couple more announcements. New business updates. There is a Sure Save Market. That's the name of the company. They're a grocery store, but they also have a great barbecue spot in there, Dickey's Barbecue. And this is actually in our ward. Don't let nobody tell you that's in East Point, okay? This is in College Park. They have a College Park business license, okay? so this, please go visit it. They, I've actually been in there shopping. When you don't have to go all the way. I mean, we've got Eden Fresh, but you don't have to go all the way to Camp Creek Parkway. We have 2 grocery stores now in Ward 1 where you can get a quick pickup, okay? And support that business. The guy that owns it is just so nice. And Dee Dee actually met with him last week, right, Dee Dee? Yeah, nice guy. I'm not gonna mess his name up though. C'est La Vie Bakery is open on Main Street. You got to check this place out, okay? I tell you. Pam was making fun of me. She said, your clothes are fitting you kind of tight, Councilwoman. I said, that's because of C'est La Vie. They've got some wonderful pastries. I love the lavender latte. Put in a commercial for you, Belinda Charles. But C'est La Vie, please go out there, get your coffee. We've got our own Starbucks in College Park, all right? And last but not least, Liquefied Juice Bar. That's another one of my calories, helping me with these little rolls on the side. But they had their grand opening on October 11th. We were able to participate with them on that, and a family-owned business, healthy business, and go there and get yourself a smoothie. You can get yourself some shots of not alcoholic shots. I know some of y'all thinking alcohol. You can get yourself a shot of ginger, different type of, I think they may do a turmeric one as well, but just shots. Okay, and that, whew.
We've got a hard out, and we have to give the room back at noon, and I've got a child I've got to pick up in Decatur. I'm supposed to be there at 11:30, so I'm going to trim the 30 minutes down to 20 minutes. We were going to give everybody 3 minutes each, but 2 minutes if you'll. We don't have a sign-up process. Just hold your hand up. You're first, sir. You already had your hand up earlier. If you'll stand up and give your name, you got 2 minutes to ask your question. I would ask that you kind of keep to one topic so that we can get as many voices in as possible. And when you start talking, I'll start timing, and I'll give you a warning at 30 seconds. So have at it, sir.
Good morning, Councilwoman. You know me, I'm not. Quick. What is the situation with 640? Wish I had been able to be aware of the renaming of the bridge, because I certainly would have named it the Tuskegee Airmen Bridge. We couldn't slash it Tuskegee Airmen Bridge, because Camper Creek is actually known as Tuskegee Parkway. So we ought to call that bridge, just make a slash, because we honor them. Especially since Camp Creek is called Tuskegee Parkway. There's been a...
Like it's an ice cream cone, like right here. There you go.
Okay. All right. There was a fire at one of the businesses that's happened, and what is the result of that? And a couple of businesses up on Main Street have closed. Is that because of rent increases?
You asked a lot of questions. I'm going to try to start from the beginning. The bridge has not officially been named. Has it? We still have some more processes to go through. That was some good information, okay? And thank you for that. 6 West, in terms of, you wanted an update about what? Yes, Lottie Miller. So basically what happened, Lottie Miller Boulevard had to get built. When I was the chair of BIDA, we had developers that said they wouldn't touch 6 West unless we had an outlet going directly from Camp Creek Parkway into the 6 West development, itself. And so that was like a prerequisite. And we built it, and back to what Lindell was saying, is that it was built ahead of time, because based on, it still was like $11 million street, okay? But the longer you wait, the more it was gonna cost. So the city got a bond, and we built that street, but we weren't ready to use it yet. And that's what's going on, because it We're just not ready to use it. And city manager? Yes. So yes, to build the bridge without that road, that's a part of it.
You wouldn't be able to build that bridge that you just talked about without that road for access, or to put in the beams that are sitting on that road to go across Camp Creek Parkway. Next person's hand up.
Yeah, he had another question. The businesses that have closed on Main Street. Okay, let me get that real quick. Okay, businesses that have closed on Main Street. The fire, we do not have an update except for the fact that we know that that it was totaled. So in terms of the inside of the restaurant, that they're going to, we have to see whether they're going to remain there, what their insurance, what they want to do. So that business is not going to be opening up anytime soon. Talking about Virgil's. We also have had 2 businesses that have left. One, it was personal reasons for the owner. I think she's moved out of town. And the other was that they just, they opened up, but decided to move their business to Atlanta. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Rodriguez. Hi. My question is the city sewer lines. Are you guys doing something with that? Researching it? I only ask this because I'm right off Harris Drive, and my house has flooded 3 times now with sewer water. In March, in April, and just recently with the storm, I've talked to Chris, the HR person, and he just keeps telling me to be patient, but I've had sewer backing up into my house. They say that the storm drains are filling up and making the sewer flood into my house because it's the lowest point. And I've been kind of patient, but I'm just trying to see what the city is doing.
You said Chris, an HR person?
Yeah, he's your HR manager.
And he's handling that? Oh, okay. Then that shows you I don't know nothing about this administration of this city.
City's storm drain lines are totally different from your sewer line. The storm drain lines don't have anything to do with the sewer. Yes, we're trying to, improve not only the sewer, but, some of our water line, we're working on it, but I'll get with you and see exactly, because this is the first time hearing about that. Okay. Yeah, but then that storm drain has something to do with your sewer line. No, the sewer line is 2 places they go. One go to City of Atlanta for treatment, and the other one to Fulton County. We have a bypass to Clayton just in case one of those 2 does not work. But your drain line don't have absolutely nothing, and that means 0.
The only reason I say that is because Tim, the superintendent over sewage, they came out and they said that it's holding, that storm is filling up and backing up and causing sewer it's flooding into the sewer, causing it. I don't know anything about the piping. I'm just going off what I was told by your higher up. That's what I was told when they came out. They say that storm needs to be fixed because Mr. Cotton is over storm.
Yes.
So this is what I've been told by those people, those guys in charge, is that the storm needs to be fixed to figure out why it's flooding into the sewer. And
sewer line are closed system, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just telling you from an expert, 40 years expert. Okay. Sewer line are closed system, and there's no way storm water will back up into a sewer line.
Understood.
Same thing, storm water will not back up into your drinking water. They are all closed system. Okay.
So what we're going to do, Didi, can you make sure you get Miss Holly's information, and we'll set something up, and I'll be there with you too, so we can get that straight. Okay, so we'll set up a time to meet with the city manager and handle that.
There was a time City of Atlanta and other cities in Georgia had what was called CSO, Central Sewage Overflow, and you may remember the City of Atlanta had to go through a $3 billion bond effort to disconnect those 2 systems. Any system that was constructed after the 1970s, you couldn't merge. But when you have the heavy rainfall we've been having, sewer lines do get clogged. Branches, debris that are in old pipes, and that can cause backflows. But those also can be cameraed and cleaned out. Go ahead.
Okay, I think Randy had a comment.
Yeah, thank you. A special request.
when we do these, especially the day or two before we have a city council meeting, can we do a legislative preview? The agenda is out, and I think it'd be valuable as a community to at least speak to some of the issues or concerns on the agenda. In any kind of detail.
Randy, can you speak up? I can't.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The first concerns are we have two items that are currently linked to a consent agenda that are not listed as being budget approved. Very curious as to why they're in the consent agenda, and if there's any opinion about removing those from the consent agenda. The other issues are, there's one that is listed as a consideration of an action to supplement the staff for sanitation and code enforcement. The details seem to indicate this would not be a increase to our existing code enforcement, but maybe a kind of supplementary organization. We're really concerned about how that's staffed, how people are trained, how they report, how they relate to our existing code enforcement.
Okay. You mentioned the two items, but you didn't say what those two items were on the consent agenda. Did you want to share those?
Yeah, I can read those.
Because we've got a bunch of stuff on the consent agenda. So
yeah, and they may actually be part of the budget, but they're not listed as. The first one is a consideration and action to request the approval of $50,000 from Ward 4 Community Enhancement Budget. I guess that is part of the budget, to host a free Valentine concert. Okay, and then the other one, consideration of action to request approval of $35,000 to contract with Ignite regarding the sewer repair damage. So those are the two items.
okay, both of those are community enhancement. They're not my community enhancement, but they are Councilman Gay's. So it is there are budgeted items. I do like your idea of, and I don't know if we'll always be able to, because we have council meetings every 2 weeks. So I can definitely not commit to a town hall meeting because what it involves with staff and everything else before every council meeting. However, as your council member, I am more than willing to answer any questions anybody has when the agenda comes out. But what I will do is try to, as much as possible, when we do community meetings, hold a community meeting before a council meeting, so we can do just what we're doing right now. So that commitment, I will be more. I think that will help us to be able to give more people that outlet. In terms of, let me see, what else did you ask? I got the.
There was the
sanitation, the additions. I'm not completely familiar with that because I'm still studying the agenda myself on that. And but my understanding is that the funding is there because we are so under budget in terms of our full-time staff. Okay, so the money to bring those 8 positions is the ambassador. Okay. And so they would still report to their contractual positions to go.
Would they receive the same training they'd be offered?
Yes, yeah.
And why wouldn't we just go ahead and bring in a full-time person?
That's administrative.
The reason is a trial period for 1 year because we have some, I won't call it saving, but we have positions that has not been filled. And this savings from those positions that has not been filled is the money that will be used. It's 2 to 4 in each area, sanitation and code enforcement, where we need some extra help. And they will be called ambassadors, and it's just for 1 year. It's a trial period for 1 year to see what kind of help it will help keep the city clean.
For enforcement,
you know, very specific, very skilled job. How do you get part-time folks that are qualified when we can't get full-time people while we've been trying?
Okay, where we'll get part-time, we have some areas where individuals have retired and just want, to do something part-time, and that's where that will come from. And same thing with sanitation. It won't be a full-time job. It's just a trial, a trial position for 1 year. And then after the year, I will evaluate them. Is this something that we want to continue? Or, the bottom line is we have a lot of apartments that we need code enforcement to enforce. We have a lot of hotels that I asked one of the lawyers representing the apartment, I said, would you lay your head down in some of these apartments that you representing? And he said no. So I said, why are you representing them? But the few code guys I have, they're focusing on the hotels, and the apartment complex, and I need some more to be able to police the city and make sure the city is clean. And same thing with the sanitation. It's just part-time.
Will this stop us from looking for full-time?
Will it stop us from getting full-time? This is just a trial, something. In all localities, they are based on the population. You have to have a certain number of full-time employees.
And
all have ambassador programs that are oftentimes retirees, sometimes graduate students. They're wayfinders. They pick up trash. They help people find parking. They help people find handicap spaces. They're not code enforcement.
yeah,
It's a different.
one final question. Who do those people report to?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You have follow-up. I'm not trying to cut you off, but there are other people.
Oh, I want to go see if there's somebody else has a question.
And I've got to go at 11:30. She's going to take over. So 2 more? Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Glenn.
You don't need to turn it on.
Good morning, each and every one. My name is Gwendolyn McLaren, and I am one of the baby boomers that was born and raised up there on Harvard. And I want to appreciate each and every one of you all that had a hand with this right here. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I am so happy and I'm so thrilled. I'm just like a child on a Christmas morning just looking at this right here. And I do want to appreciate you all. I know it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from? I'm just like a child on a Christmas morning. You hear me? And I ain't gonna preach. That's it.
You can preach.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy because, like I said, I was born and raised on Harvard. I was born in 1954, right down the street from Dr. McCree's office. And like I said, I remember that when my dad used to go there, and he used to sit. I used to be with my dad all the time. I was a daddy's baby. And when he go in there and get his hair cut, and he used to give me like 75 cents. Well, back then we used to call it 25 cents or a quarter. And I used to sit on those steps when they got through with cutting his hair and everything. And all his friends used to come and pat me on the hair and call me Little McLaren, just like that. But I want to let you all know that I appreciate that. I'm looking at this. Boy, I want to jump up and do a split. But I'm okay. In the name of Jesus, on a bad knee.
And I wanted to give Ms. Glenn a chance to talk because Ms. Glenn is actually my reason for getting involved in the Price Barbershop Project, period. I interviewed her for Black History Month a couple of years ago, and you told me so much history, and that's what got me involved. So I'm just glad that promises made, promises will be kept.
Last question. Anyone? Randy, you want to go one more? No? Yeah, I mean, if we go through and you run out,
All right, so everybody's had a chance. Okay, let me just finish us off before we leave here. Election day is Tuesday. This is a very important election. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but I am going to tell you vote. Vote, 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 vote. Elections have consequences, all right? Remember that, you know. So if you think that your vote doesn't count, it can make a difference. It will make a difference. College Park right now is an example of that. Also tonight, do not forget to fall back, all right? All right, I know some of y'all want to go to church in the morning, but you don't need to get there at 8 o'clock when the service is at 9, okay? So make sure you take your clocks back. We also have the survey trying to decide how to do this. I know a lot of people want curbside recycling, but we also need to hear from you because really, at this point, it's probably going to cost us something, and how do we want to handle that? So please take the survey, and before we leave, I just want to give Mike Lindsay an opportunity, and Mike will close us out. As he's coming, again, I want to thank you every single day that I wake up. I'm grateful, one, for another day that the Almighty Omnipotent has given me to live, but also for this opportunity to serve College Park. I ran for this position not because for any reason but to serve, not because I wanted to be seen, but I knew that I had the energy to do what needed to be done for the good of this community. And that's where I stand. I've been fought, I've been challenged, but guess what? It's just sharpened me and made me better. And I think we all can get better, all right? We all can always improve. You know, one thing I love about all the different arrows that point at me is they keep me to be on the best that I can be. So I appreciate every single negative thing that has been said about me, every single challenge that has been brought for me, because it is making me come forth as pure gold and really be able to serve each of you the way you deserve to be served.
Good morning, College Park. So I'm just going to give you some information. I'm part of BZA as well. We meet every second Monday, 6 o'clock we meet every second Monday, 6 o'clock in council chambers. We are kind of the last stop when people are doing any building or anything, if people wanted to change some zone as far as like your fence is too high or something like that. We haven't met these past 3 months. We may have a meeting coming up. So I'm just letting everybody know. As well as now I am the newly installed president of the College Park Citizens Association. And with this, of course, being election month, you know, when you have new leadership, things change. So just to let you know, there is going to be a drastic change in our organization. We were used to having meetings and holding forums, and it's not that we won't do that anymore. However, I feel that there has to be more done. You can't, you know, we can say we're an organization, we meet and get people fired up and buy donuts, but what are we leaving or doing for the community? So coming up, we usually meet every third Saturday, and we still will probably meet every third Saturday. However, this being November, I think it's Men's Mental Health Month. So we will be having a workshop on the 23rd, and the title of the workshop is, Are We Producing the Men We Hate? So in order for you all to know what it's about, because it may be something, are we producing the men we hate? And having said that, I want people to understand that if we as a CPCA, we are 501c4, which means that we were more on the political side, but there is some repair that needed to be done as well. We have a social and a cultural component, and I wanted to address those. In our community, I think we have 13,000 residents, about 13,000, 14,000, and it's about 11,000 of us that are Black, African American, American descent, slavery, whatever you want to call yourself. Out of that, I wanted to look at our community and say, how can we start to repair certain things? We don't always have to agree, but where can we come to some common ground? So that is going to be the new way forward for our organization, and I hope everybody wants to attend. I want to leave you with 2 quotes. I'm a quote person. I don't know if you all are, but I collect them like pennies. So the one quote I want to leave you with, these are personal quotes for people. A lie will always lead you in the place the truth can only get you out of. And the next one is, excuse me. A lie will always lead you into a place that only the truth will get you out of. And my next one is, procrastination is a great thief. It robs you of time before you even use it. If you have something to do, do it now, do it today. The one thing I want to say, we started the CPCA 2017, officially in 2018. We were just meeting, having breakfast. And we decided, like, what can we do? What do we want to do? We were meeting every week, and we decided, let's do something in the community. Let's be more. Let's do more. And it just grew and it grew and it grew into what we have now. And I want to tell anybody, if you have something that you want to do, start today. Losing weight, whatever it is, because like we know, no day is promised. Tomorrow's not promised. And what mark are you going to leave on this world? What is your legacy going to be? So that's what I want. I want to, I guess my legacy to be, I want to leave a mark. I don't know what that mark is going to be yet, but I know I want to do something. I want to leave this mark. So with all that being said, I want to tell you I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Councilwoman, excuse me. And I want to tell you I appreciate everything that you have done, whether I agree with you or disagree. I call her when I disagree with her. She tells me, we have long conversations. But there has a lot been being done in this city that I can say I grew up in. My grandfather used to get his hair cut there. And I used to sit in that, he used to have rabbits in the back. And I used to always ask about them rabbits in the back. I used to remember that. But I'm glad to see these changes going on. Whether I agree with them or not, I'm just glad to see a lot of stuff happening. You have to be progressive in the city, and the city has to continue to be aggressive to be alive. So that's it. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I just have one announcement representing Ignite Resource Center as the Assistant Executive Director. We will be hosting a turkey dinner giveaway on Saturday, November the 23rd from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Legacy of Glory Church on Main Street. So we just hope anyone that would like to come by, it's going to be a drive-through event, so we welcome anyone to come by who would like to. Thank you.